Good afternoon, world. Good afternoon. It is Thursday, the 29th, the 28th day of 2017, and you are watching the Shy P Show, where we have a special guest today who is here with us on his birthday. Can you imagine that? On his birthday. I want to remind you that you're watching the Shy P Show. We are brought to you compliments of the nonprofit organization of the Peaceful World Movement. The Peaceful World Movement is located at 11451 South Michigan Avenue on the south side of Chicago. And the purpose of the Peaceful World Movement is to develop a peaceful world industry as a sustainable antidote to violence, crime, and delinquency. You can reach us at www.shypeace.net, and you can call us at 716-603-0992. And we are happy to be here with you today. Well, Master Kickman, finally, man.
I know, how's it going?
We set this thing up like a couple months ago, and it seems like it's been
Yeah,
a year,
like September
man.
or something like that, and here it is, like 3 months later. So I'm actually really excited to be here, and thank you all that's tuning in today too. Thank you all for being here today.
The 23-year-old on his birthday, gracing us with his
Just
present.
turned 23 today.
And you know what? He might even see a couple kicks of taekwondo.
Hey, we might.
We said we're
Let's
gonna
see how-
go out with like fireworks, right?
Yeah, we might as well just throw everything
just
in,
throw
put all
it
the
there,
chips
make it
in.
like
Let's just see
fireworks.
how it goes. Let's see what happens. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I want to thank the many of you who have been guests on this show. I want to thank Ken TV. Make sure you go online and support Ken TV, right? And otherwise support Ken TV. Ken TV for this wonderful opportunity for us to bring forward the Shy P Show. We want to remind you that it's a live call-in show, 312-738-1060. We are here at 1309 South Wood Avenue in the south side of Chicago, taking this exciting last show. And next year, I'll actually have the opportunity to collaborate with some students at the Peaceology at North Park show. That's going to be on a Thursday evenings, Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. But today, we have with us none other than, drum rolls please, Master Kickman.
They said I couldn't hit on the table, so I can't actually do a drum roll. So I gotta do this.
You gotta do this.
I have to do this.
So
they said
tell
I
us,
couldn't hit on the
where
table.
did this name come from, Master Kickman?
I mean, so I've been doing taekwondo since I was 2 years old, and I've been competing locally since I was around 8 years old. And so you would have a lot of my teammates that would go to the same tournaments as me, and then you'll also have some local people from around the neighborhood that would go to the tournaments to see me fight too. Growing up on Southside Chicago, and taekwondo is a Korean martial art. And that's something that's, dominated by the Asian community. So if you see a black guy doing it, I've gotten the nickname Blackie Chan, Bruce Leroy, and when a few of my neighborhood people came to see one of my fights, and they saw I was knocking people out with this crazy back kick, they were just like, man, we need something just for you, you know what I mean? Because Bruce Lee, he was his own person, he did his own thing, and they were only calling me that because they've only seen me come home after a tournament with medals. But it was until they actually saw me fight, and they were like, we need something just for you. And so they just gave me the nickname Master Kickman, and it's just been going like that ever since. So,
man, you know what? I did. One of my former instructors, Eric, is sitting in the back, and I feel a little bit embarrassed because Eric, I should have done my research, and I should have a YouTube plug here for Master Kickman.
Oh,
so
man.
maybe I will get a little break.
What's up with that?
And I must thank Omari as well. Maybe he didn't want me to tell the world that he's out there manning the telephone for us, and he's out there cheering us on for our last event because our assistant couldn't be. You see, even at Can TV, just for this little bit of support that we provide, we get this great customer service, great opportunity to be online, and sometimes when our staff is short, these guys even help us out. So I'll be remiss if I didn't do a shout out. So tell me, when you say the South Side of Chicago, it's a large place. Where exactly in the South Side are you from?
So I'm from 125th and Stewart, South Side Chicago.
That's Roseland, I guess. 125th,
West Pullman, Roseland
West Pullman area.
It has different nicknames. A lot of people call it the hundreds. But I'm from 125th.
So
and
people
Stewart.
call it. One of the things they call it the Wild Hundreds. Does it live up to that name?
From what I've been able to see, yeah. And because growing up, I grew up in a two-parent household. And my parents had this really nasty divorce by the time I hit middle school. So when I was in elementary school, they were just like, just go to school. And at the time, I went to Polk Classical School, which was one of the best elementary schools in the city of Chicago at the time. Now it's something entirely different, but that's another story. So I went to Poe, and they were just like, you're good at Taekwondo, you're good, but you can be great if you stay disciplined and stay focused. Don't get caught up in the streets. I don't want you to go outside. Just go to school and go to practice and come back home. That's it. So just from the stuff I was able to see, and I wasn't even really outside like that, I saw my first dead body when I was in the 6th grade. And that was just mind-blowing to me, because I've seen roadkill plenty of times, a cat that got ran over and is just thrown aside the street. And it's a cat, you know what I mean? Or it's a dog, or it's a squirrel. But if you see a human like that, it just shows you how cruel the world can be sometimes. And at the time, I thought, everything was this rated G Disney movie, and when I saw that first body for the first time, I saw and learned that it's nothing like that. And then when I hit middle school, I went to Harlan Community Academy High School in 95th. And that's when I was actually going to school with a lot of these, gang members and things like that. So that only really opened my eyes to see what was really out there, being exposed to drugs, guns, gangs, things like that. So, I mean, unfortunately, it lives up to the name, and there's a lot of people from the outside that look at us and give us those names and those labels. But they wouldn't be able to fairly do that if we didn't give them something to judge us on.
But one of the things we want to do is to change this situation around on the south side of Chicago.
Absolutely.
With some of the work that we are doing there. Again, let me remind everyone, watching the Shy Piece Show, you can reach us again at www.shypiece.net. You can call us at 716-603-0992. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Kibi Saint-Jean. We are also located at 11451 South Michigan Avenue on the south side of Chicago, and you can, we are in the process of remodeling our building and doing some of the things that we need to do. I'm also an associate professor, the chair of the sociology department at North Park University. I'm also the director of criminal justice there. The purpose of the Shy Piece Show is to figure out how can we create a more peaceful Chicago. And in our process of interviewing people, we try to understand how people create a more peaceful Chicago. So, Master Kickman, how do you promote or create a more peaceful Chicago with what you do?
I mean, everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has their own answer, their own solution on what they could bring to the table. I'm my own person, so as far as what I try to do, I just be myself, and I use my story and my experience of being unshackled. That's the overall theme and the values that I stand for and what I represent. Just being unshackled from your adversities. And growing up, living in the south side of Chicago, I was shackled to all the things that were going on outside of my home with gangs and violence. And then to come home after a long, stressful day with dealing with that stuff, death threats and things like that, having to still deal with issues inside the home too. So I just had to, be unshackled from all of those different things. And once I did that and changed my way of thinking, changed my way of living, that's when I was able to truly reach my full potential. And that's how I ultimately became an Olympic bronze medalist by doing so. So I just use that testimony to be able to, emotionally reach out to the people who are going through something similar that I was going through. Peer pressure is crazy, and it's a huge influence on our generation today, especially the youth. So I just use that as a vehicle to be able to build a community, if you will, the Kickman community. And it consists of, a lot of men and women. And the women call themselves Miss Kickmen. You know what I mean? So this is something that...
We got Mr. and Miss Kickman.
Yeah, so the men are called Kickmen. The men and the boys are called Kickmen. And the women and girls are called Miss Kickmen. Because it started off with just, come on, guys, we could do a lot better, put the guns down and all this other stuff. And then there's a lot of women that could relate to a lot of the stuff that our values stand on. At the end of the day, just being unshackled from, maybe it could be domestic violence with their significant other, how society and people outside of the black community look at women. So they were trying to be unshackled from their adversities. So the overall theme of being unshackled, essentially can be universal. We have people from the south side of Chicago who ride with us like I said, women. We even have, AAA members who are addicted to alcohol and drugs, and they're trying to be unshackled from that, So
Is that the original idea, coming all shackled, or you got it from somewhere else? Language?
No. So I saw this painting, a really powerful painting, and it showed this African man, and it showed him in the middle of a room, and there was a chain on his neck, and it was chained to the floor, so he could only look down. He couldn't see what was in front of him, so he couldn't move higher. He couldn't elevate himself because he couldn't see what his future held. And he had his wrists chained to the floor and his ankles and legs chained to the floor too. He was literally and figuratively shackled. He couldn't move and evolve as a man. And I was just looking at that picture and said, if he was unshackled, who knows what that guy could do? And then that's when I just brought that to myself and just put a name behind our actions and what we do on a day-to-day basis. Just be unshackled.
So why Taekwondo? Why not Kung Fu or Aikido or something else?
When me, my mom, my dad first moved to the south side of Chicago, they just wanted me to learn how to defend myself. Because, like I said, I'm from the south side of Chicago, not Beverly or the suburbs or anything. It's really dangerous over there. So they just wanted me to be able to, when the opportunity presented itself, I could be able to an extent, be able to defend myself. If boxing was an option, it could have been that, like you said, Kung Fu, karate,
So
class about
that's what was
nunchucks.
there? So what was the first time how did you get to know about Taekwondo?
So Taekwondo was the closest self-defense facility, and it was literally like 15, 20 minutes away.
Oh, wow.
So
that was the closest.
Yeah.
Where was that? Like physically?
It's in Blue Island. It's in Blue Island, like 123rd.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so they just naturally took me there.
I can't resist. What is tattoos for? What is this?
Well, it's crazy. There's a lot of people who ask we have our first caller. That's what's up. Yeah, good job. That's what I'm talking about. There we go.
Hey, caller. You got Master Kickman fired up.
Yeah, what's
Thank
up?
you for calling, caller. What's your question or comment? Thank you for calling in.
That's Paula, that's me. Here I am once again. Happy holiday, Master Kick.
Ooh, thank you.
Thank you.
I seen you kick. I seen you kicking around before the show even started. Huh?
He's gonna show you a little something in a minute.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Let me shut this damn dog up. Shut up, Oscar.
Be nice to the dog.
Anyhow, yeah.
It's a Shy Peace show. We be nice to the dogs too. Tell the dog to be unshackled.
I know, right? Be unshackled.
Yeah, so what's your question? Well, I know you already gave us a comment. Do you have a question or are you going to sing happy birthday to Master Kickman? Can you give us a short version of happy birthday to Master Kickman?
Just 2 lines.
Oh, happy birthday, Master Kickin'. You kicking, man. You kicking. Anyhow.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you for the call, caller.
Listen, Peaceful World Movement. We used to have the Guardian Angels here in Chicago. Remember those guys? Maybe you could teach them how to do a little of that kicking, huh?
Yeah, that'll be a great idea, a great
We
solution.
got to get these streets back to peacefulness, sir.
Yeah, anything that I could do, I'll definitely take that, with my team, and we'll see how we could bring that to life. Definitely.
So do you want to see Master Kickman? Master Kickman, can you show them something, man?
Oh, I can.
All right, caller, thanks for calling, okay?
I can.
You're going to see Master Kickman. So show them some Taekwondo move. One of my daughters are doing Taekwondo, and they say Kia or something. So what level belt are you, by the way?
Oh, I'm a black belt.
Yeah, what level, there are different levels?
Yeah, so there's different degrees. So you have your first degree, second degree, as high up as you want to go. Okay. I'm a 3rd degree black belt.
3rd degree black belt. So you can break some stuff. You can create some peace.
I can create some peace.
You could kick some men.
Prefer to not use any Taekwondo. I prefer to use my voice.
Nice, nice. But so show us a classic, like a basic Taekwondo move.
Okay, so there's a lot of people who are familiar with what's called a roundhouse kick, and a roundhouse kick is probably the most simple and the most basic Taekwondo kick there is. So you're in your fighting stance. I'm a southpaw, so that means I stand with my left foot behind me and my right foot in the front. So you're in your fighting stance. You have your hands up. Your eyes are focused on your opponent. And when you get in a situation when you're fighting, you have to be able to control your emotions. I know a lot of times, even the first time I got jumped, I didn't know any Taekwondo, honestly, because I was just so scared and I was panicking, and everything I learned just went out the window. But if you ever get in a situation where you're being attacked, you just have to remain calm. Get in your fighting stance. Don't fight impulsively and just start swinging all over the place, you know. So just get in your fighting stance nice and relaxed. And how you do a roundhouse kick is just a few simple steps. You just lift your knee and you turn your body. Once you do that, just extend your foot and put it down. Okay? So you're in your...
Yeah, we don't want to work hazard problem, right? Go ahead.
So once again, you're in your fighting stance. You're in your fighting stance, and you just lift your knee and turn your hip, kick, put the foot down, and boom. That's a roundhouse kick. So all in one motion, it goes boom. And that's a roundhouse kick, ladies.
It's a roundhouse kick on his
That's a
birthday,
roundhouse
right?
kick.
What a present! What a present for Chi-Town, right?
I know,
You don't have to be violent, right? But listen, if somebody is talking about peacefulness, right?
peace.
You know, I'm a veteran of the United States Army, right? And one of the things we train, you know what we train to do.
Wow.
But there's hand-to-hand combat. It's not taekwondo. It's not kind of fancy stuff. So I'm not gonna talk about, you know, some of those classical moves. But part of the important thing of self-defense is posture. Right, and if you are confident you're able to use your voice and you're able to say, you know, give a message or mess with me, then maybe somebody kind of leave you alone. Although some people want a challenge. So, what are the kind of the ideas or the theories or the practices in Taekwondo that allow someone, if trained, to give a posture that I'm probably not somebody you want to try?
And this happens all the time. I mean, I don't know how you guys look at me from the TV's perspective, but I'm a pretty small guy. I'm only like 5'7", 5'8" on a good day.
What are you, like 140 pounds?
Nah, that's obesity to me. That's obesity to me. I'm only $125, so I'm a real small guy.
Yeah.
You know, so every time I'm outside or whatever, there's a lot of people, even still to this day, you know, that try to test me and stuff like that. And there's been a lot of situations where things start to escalate and things get heated. And whenever I feel there's going to be a conflict that arises, I always tell the person, I take like 2-3 steps back and I lift my hands up like this. And I tell the guy, I kid you not, this is almost verbatim. I'll say, listen, sir, in case you are unfamiliar with who I am an Olympic bronze medalist in the sport of Taekwondo. I've been practicing this martial art since I was 2 years old. And however age I am, I'll just say, you know, like I've been practicing it for like 22 years, 21 years, whatever the case may be. I do not want to inflict violence upon you, but if you cross my personal space, and I'll lift my hand out like this, if you cross my personal space at this point, I will defend myself. And so I get in my fighting stance, and I literally just keep my hand out. And there was this one, we got another caller! Yay!
You don't have to tell us how he took down that guy. Hey, caller!
caller!
You saved us from the story of how that guy took him down the peaceful way by Master Kickman. Caller, thank you for your comment and question. Hey, caller, are you there?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. This is Mrs. Dr. St. Jean.
Whoa, Dr. St. John, what's going
Happy
on?
birthday. I'm so proud of you. You're able to make it in.
Hey, I told you I was going to stay on top of all this, and I'm here.
Can you sing happy birthday to Master Kickman?
Yeah, come on, you got to sing it now.
Oh, my goodness. Happy birthday to you.
Bam ba dam.
Happy birthday to you.
Dap da dap.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Hey,
Thank
23-year-old
you. 23.
that does not drink alcohol. Isn't that a great thing?
Yeah.
He's gonna have a super birthday.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. Oh, well.
I mean, I might go to McDonald's, that's about it.
Oh, yeah.
That's as
You
fun
can
as
have a
it gets.
milkshake.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Dr. Seja, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. You haven't been on CAN TV in a very long time. It's about time we bring you back. Maybe hopefully when we come back on Pisology at North Park, we can feature you.
Oh.
Yes. Well, I want to hear about that tattoo. That's what actually got me to know more about Mr. Kickman, Dr. Kickman.
Master Kickman!
Get it right. Master Kickman.
Master Kickman. It's on the headband right here. Master Kickman.
Master Kickman. The left forearm. Can you explain that tattoo?
This one or this one?
The one with the Olympic stars.
Okay, so I went to the Olympics when I was 14 years old. 14, I was going to be 15 that year. And I was only a sophomore in high school, the youngest person on Team USA, the smallest person. I didn't hit puberty till around my senior year of high school. So at the time, I was like 4'11", 85 pounds, just really small, skinny. I was always wearing glasses. My glasses were like half the size of my face. You know what I mean? So I was just this really small guy. And, you know, like I said, going back to the whole story of being unshackled, I was I was always a small guy, and I was getting beat on in practice and stuff like that because everybody was normal-sized people. And then once I started to compete at the city championships and I started to win there, became a city champion, state champion, Midwestern champion, national champion, going to the Team USA tryouts and stuff like that, and then I started traveling overseas, and then the Olympics came into the picture. So once I went from A all the way through Z, and I didn't get the results I wanted, it was just looking back at the whole experience. It was like, man, I started off as that little guy that everybody was beating on, and here I am now, on the Olympic podium. You know what I mean? Like, how many people off the top of your head, statistically, from the south side of Chicago, black men, can say that they've even traveled outside Chicago? And then take it a step further. How many people traveled anywhere in the United States? How many traveled outside the country? How many people did anything, whether it was academic, athletic, entrepreneur-wise, that was at the elite of the elite?
So the tattoo came. So what happened with the tattoo? How you designed that one? How did that? What does that say? What does it?
So I'm a creative person, so I have an idea of how I want things to be, and so basically the concept that I went to my tattoo artist was I want the Olympic rings, I want an American flag. That was it, and I said I don't.
Turn it this way. Let's see.
So.
Oh, okay.
You have the you have the American flag in the background. It's waving, like the wind's blowing.
Motion, yeah.
And then he designed it so that way the Olympic rings, it's not tattooed, it's just the outline of it is.
All right,
and then he put these Olympic flowers that you get at the awards ceremony too. So
what does it feel like, man, to be on that podium?
it feels great, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's like, if you're not an athlete, you look at the Olympics as just that thing that happens every 4 years. But there's a whole process and a whole journey you got to go to just to get to that point. Like I said, you got to qualify, at least for Taekwondo, you have to represent and qualify for your weight class. You got to go to the Olympic Training Center. And then once you do that, you have to go to this world qualification tournament where every country is saying, we want our best 100 and whatever pound fighter to fight in the Olympics. So everybody's sending their fighters, and there can only be like 16 people. So you have to fight like 20 times, and you have to place in the top 8. And then once you're in the top 8, then you finally go to the Olympics.
Right. Dr. Seja, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Well,
I have one other question. I don't know if I missed it, but I was really excited to see what you're doing around the city now with your Taekwondo skills. Did I miss that?
No.
You'll tell it briefly. We have a couple more minutes. We're good.
Yeah. So
Okay,
currently,
I'll hang up from the call, okay?
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you for
Dr.
the question,
Seja, for
too.
calling. We appreciate your call.
So currently what me and my team are doing, what me and the Kickmen are doing, and the Miss Kickman, I started this own workshop. There's 2 different segments to it. One of them is called Unshackle with Master Kickman, and that's an anti-bullying workshop, and we have contracts and relationships with a lot of big, popular nonprofit organizations in the city of Chicago, and that's where we go, and we already have our 2018 calendar set and booked. So we're working with those organizations to offer anti-bullying workshops. And then secondly, we have what's called Kick with Master Kickman, and that's basically a self-defense taekwondo instructional workshop where, like I said, students who maybe are getting bullied can learn how to defend themselves. And I remember even doing this last summer. And it was really popular for a lot of the college campuses for the female population. And that's when the whole Kickman, the Miss Kickman community. Oh, another caller.
Another caller. We have a minute here. Get a quick question or comment for Master Kickman.
I'll make it quick.
Say again?
Yes, this is Sharon Hall.
Hi, Sharon
Hello,
Hall.
Miss Sharon Hall. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Auntie. How are you? Thank you for calling.
Okay, listen, you say you're a master, what are you, the master what?
Master Kickman.
Okay, Master Kickman, I heard your story on how, from the time you were 14 up to now. My question to you is, have you ever taken your experience of what you've gone through to now to the South Side or any neighborhood and talked to younger people to encourage them to do the same, whatever their dream is?
Thank you. Very good question.
Great question, too.
We have a few seconds to answer it because we have to be done in a minute.
Okay, cool. So, me and my team, we are building relationships with a lot of child care centers, daycare centers, elementary schools, and middle schools because, as everybody knows, the youth is our future. So I use my experience and my testimony to be able to reach out to them and introduce something new, because our culture is very familiar with, basketball, football, music. There's nothing wrong with that. I wanted to be an NBA player at one point in my life until I found out that I suck at basketball. So I just want to be able to introduce something new. If you want to engage in it and participate in Taekwondo, cool. I could be the person you go to. If not, at least you are aware of something else now.
And there's some of that on the south side of Chicago?
Absolutely. That's the Gresham area,
Yes.
West Palm, and everything.
Well, we want to be gracious hosts. And even though this is our last show, this might be our longest show. We have gone a few seconds here over our time, and it is the end already. So I want to thank you for watching the Shy Peace Show. Thank you for viewing, for calling in. Thank you for our various guests. Thanks to Mary for helping us on the last day. Master Kickman, thank you so much. I'm shaking the hand of an Olympian, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
And we'll see you next season when we participate with students on Pisology at North Park. Dr. Peter K.B. St. Jean saying, have a happy new year.
Happy New Year, you guys.
Bye-bye.